After 3 weeks of ongoing repairs, we completed our last sea trial, packed up, and left Acapulco midday. Regardless of a hampered engine, we were ready to check out of Mexico and move on to Central America. We have estimated 4 days to sail the 500 nautical miles to our destination, Puerto Chiapas, the last official port in Mexico. In the event our weather window changes for the Gulf of Tehauntapec, we will stop in Huatuco to wait out the next weather window to cross the Gulf. Hey Capitan, how's our Yanni doing?
It is better than it was, but it's still running warmer than it used to. We're running at about 1500 RPM. Anything above that, we start to get into overheat territory. So I would say it's still not fixed, although we've got lots of different opinions. So we'll see as we go further down the coast.
So cool how they just float on top. So cool. On calm days, we let Sam and Dean hang out in the cockpit with us. So if you're wondering what our cats do all day, this pretty much sums it up. Either they're sleeping or, like typical cats, just trying to annoy each other.
No better feeling than finishing up a night watch, watching the sun come up, especially after it's been a long motor down the coast here of southern Mexico. Really didn't have any winds to speak of overnight. Right now we've got it spinning the wind instrument right now with a couple of knots, so hopefully here the sun will get up and a little thermal heating will get some wind action going.
We have reached the Gulf and have to make a decision on how to cross the Tehuantepec. It is recommended to cross the Gulf with 1 foot on the beach, staying close to shore within the wave zone to assist if the Tehuantepec winds increase unexpectedly. Forecasts for these winds can change significantly from low to high winds in a 12-hour period, and it is recommended to exercise caution. We still had a 48-hour window of light winds coming from the south, so we remained on course to sail straight across to Chiapas.
Carla, so how was the last watch of the day, or the night, I should say?
It was uneventful, light winds, and eventually we had to kick on Yanni. It was a fun night. We had really good winds till about 11 o'clock, midnight, maybe a little later than that. We went over 7 long lines in probably 12-hour periods, and we are about halfway actually, so another day and a bit and we'll be there. Actually close to 24 hours from now.
So I thought I'd give this a try. Night watch here. It's about 0400 on Monday, our 4th night of passage, and we're coming up on Chiapas. Looks like we got about 53 nautical miles to go. Very light winds tonight, so we've been dealing with 5 to 7 knot winds, doing about 2.5 knots, almost dead downwind here, and probably gonna fire up the diesel come morning so we can make it in today. But typical night watch, sitting out here. Beautiful night. Got the Southern Cross over here off the starboard side of the boat, and as you can hear, I'm listening to music. When the music's on, I also have a big pod of dolphins or porpoises off the back of the boat. I can see them swimming. You can see their shapes in the stern light, but they seem to like the music, so they'll follow for quite some time. I've gotten a couple of recordings of them out there breathing, but they just don't show up on any of the cameras we have here, even on this cool night mode, which makes me look really scary. Whoa. Okay, More later.
Somebody wants a little love this morning, doesn't he? Oh, yeah. A little love. What you sniffing? What you sniffing? What you sniffing? Yeah. Oh, there's a happy cat. Oh, there's a happy cat. Oh, yeah.
So that's a great view over there. That's actually a marked line, long line for fishing, which I really appreciate, that big flag on it. That's the first one we've seen coming across the strait that's actually had the flag. So that makes it a little bit easier.
4 days and 3 hours. And we have arrived in Chiapas. We've got some wind kicking in here, so we're just making sure that we've got lots of space to get into the entrance, which is just right in front of us. But yeah, we made it. So we're gonna phone the port captain. Should be interesting. Should be fun. Phone the port captain. See the contemplation on Kevin's face.
Señorita.
What kind of boat do we have?
Bolero.
Ah, all right. So we're the name of the boat.
Gargoyle 1.
Okay, receive it. Welcome to Puerto Chiapas. You're going to port. This is the captain of the boat. One time, one seat. You have a good night.
Buenas tardes. Gracias.
The Port of Chiapas entrance lies 13 kilometers northwest of the international boundary between Mexico and Guatemala and is the last official port for cruisers to check out as they head to Central America. Opening in 1975, the port was mainly a small fishing and agricultural transport center, and to increase tourism, upgrades started in 2005 to add facilities for cruise ships and cargo ships, which now make regular stops to visit the Tapachula area. It is also the home of one of many naval and military bases for Mexico to help manage the challenges for the border state. For the crew on Gargoyle, we'd be officially checking out of Mexico and provisioning for the trip through Central America to Panama. All right, final turn into the marina.
Reminds me when I used to boat on the Mississippi River and go back up in these sloughs. Very Mississippi River-like.
We were officially checked into Chiapas, and thanks to our friends on Wave Dancer, the next day we headed out for an excursion to check out the area. We were introduced to Miguel, our tour guide and at times our taxi service during our stay in Chiapas. Tapachula is approximately 30 kilometers from Chiapas, and having Miguel as our driver, guide, and translator was a highlight during our stay at Puerto Chiapas. We would highly recommend him to assist you when you are visiting the area. On the outskirts of the modern city of Tapachula, below the Tacana volcano, is the historical site of Izapa. Although it covers an area of some 200 hectares and consists of 13 plazas, only 3 can be visited, which amounts to under 2% of the total area. These ruins include pyramids, sculpted plazas, squares, and ball courts. A stepped pyramid is also part of the site, approximately 10 meters high, and was probably used for religious and ceremonial purposes. The first human settlement in Izapa began somewhere around 1500 to 1250 BC, and at its height between 300 and 50 BC, it is believed Izapa had a population of some 10,000 people. It is also estimated that the total site was abandoned by the 13th century. From Izapa, we headed to Tuxtla Chico, where the largest cocoa plantations grow the best tasting chocolate in the world. It is also the home of Dona Josefina Lepera Castellon, a world-renowned chocolate maker in the region who practices the traditional ways of Mayan chocolate making.
The handmade tortillas are much better than the tortillas made in the machine. And what they use it, they have the water, they have the mass here, you see? And they turn a little bit water and she starts to modulate the tortilla. Of course, to do that, I'm terrible to do that, okay? So I need a skillful to do that. They have the paper to avoid the stick, and also they use flour to avoid that the tortillas stick on the comal. Okay? Put water in your hand and do that, okay? There's the water. So wet your hands first. And that way, then after put it, and then after start to do the...
It's called working for your food.
Then after you do that, you see how she... It is a little bit complicated, I mean, to do.
It's always easier when you look. You're good.
Okay. Got it? Now you have to stick out and put it in the command without the plastic. Yes, you got it, and then after in the command. Well, Señora Carla, don't worry, that's your tortilla, okay? So that will be your tortilla, Señora Carla.
It'll
Okay,
puff
so.
up, right? So this is just like dried in the sun?
You see that we normally open the cocoa seed, the cocoa pod, and then after what we have to do is to spread the fruit. Of course, right now, because we are in the demo, we can eat it. But normally they spread it everything. And they wait till between 3 or 5 days till they get this consistency of the cocoa. This is the dry seed of the cocoa. And this is where normally we start the process. This is after 3 or 5 days that we put it in the sun, okay? So the process is that after we dry the seed of the cocoa, we start to spread and roast the seed of the cocoa. Right now they are preparing the...
Like popcorn.
¿Quiere moverle?
Sí, yeah.
¿Cuál silla?
She's a master.
Ay,
During 20 minutes. We need to wait 20 minutes till the seed of the cocoa gets completely roasted, okay? Then after, in a few minutes, they will start to do like a popcorn. After that, once we finish here, what we have to do is to peel the cocoa seed in this way. Would you like one?
Tastes like coconut? Tastes like
How does it
cocoa?
taste? Tastes like cocoa.
Tastes like cocoa? Dona Josefina tells us there are no secrets to her delicious chocolate other than her love for this activity. She chooses the best cocoa beans, dries them naturally in the sun, then carefully roasts them for artisanal grinding. Combining the natural cocoa with sugar, cinnamon, and peanuts gives this chocolate her characteristic and award-winning flavor.
Yes, yes, you got it. Yeah.
ay, ahora la... Eso. Mira, tipo.
I get it. You can bring the tourists out here and do all the work.
So that's the real chocolate. Nothing with conservative, nothing else but the real chocolate.
Este es 100% cacao.
100% cocoa. Okay, so
Kevin, going into the water, check our prop and our
Chiapas.
intake in Chiapas.
With the 5-meter crocodiles. Dive take 2, I had to come back up and get my fins and a rash guard because the bottom of the boat's a little snarky. So here we go. Take 2.
The great white hunter here took Dean for a walk and then let him off his leash so we could check out the local birds. You can see they're slowly taunting him, getting closer and closer. Any minute now he's gonna strike. He literally, there is some movement. Just don't think he's gonna get one.
And so where we're going to see it, and they put the carpets out in the streets, and the families do different carpets to celebrate the saints or to celebrate nature. And the carpets are made of sawdust that they color. So they put it down, and we think they probably started last night. Put the carpets down so you can walk around and see all the different displays that they have. And then tonight night after this is done, and they have to clean it all up again afterwards.
And they're made out of sawdust.
Sawdust.
Not flowers?
No.
What Kevin is explaining is a celebration of the Saint Mary, Virgin of Candelaria, and we have arrived just in time for the big 2-week celebration for the patron saint of Tuxtla Chico. February is known as the month of the Virgin of Candelaria, and the hearts of its locals get ready to celebrate. During the celebrations, entire families gather in the streets of the city to make these handmade artistic carpets based on sawdust of different colors, flowers, and natural elements. This tradition has been passed down from generation to generation, and the families cultivate these important activities through their children and grandchildren so they can continue on this important tradition. The parish of Santa Maria de Candelaria dates back to the year 1857 when the cathedral was completed. The parish is still active in the community today and is situated in the center plaza or town square where the activities of this festival take place. This festival is full of magic as the streets around the square are filled with culture, food, vendors, and amusement rides. The music, art, color, and religious celebrations are not to be missed if you're fortunate enough to be in this area in February. After a week in Chiapas, it's time for us to head south, so we headed into Tapachula to do the final provisioning. To add to the adventure, we also took the local bus and then a taxi into town to complete our shopping. Tapachula is a large urban center, approximately 20 kilometers away from Chiapas, and is the ideal place to provision with Sam's Club, Walmart, Home Depot, and other shops to assist cruisers before jumping to Central America. Next, we do the lengthy process of checking out of Mexico. We will first need to stop at the port captain's office to complete the customs and immigration's paperwork. For Gargoyle, we have decided to cancel our temporary import permit, or TIP, and will also need to head to the Mexico-Guatemala border to complete the cancellation.
This is the crowd as we're going to cancel our tip at the border with Vladimir and Galina as well. And our trusty driver and guide, Miguel.
After a long day, we finally arrive at the border to complete the paperwork to cancel Gargoyle's tip, and have finally finished all the required paperwork and legalities to leave Mexico.
Good morning, Mrs. Nash. How are you?
I'm good. As you can see, we're departing the port of Chiapas. Great port, and we're saying goodbye to Mexico. How crazy is that? We got here on November 24th, and it is now February the 5th. So it's been a great stay. I don't know how many thousands of nautical miles we've traveled, but it's a lot. And yeah, our next stop is going to be El Salvador. We have about 250 nautical miles, and right in front of us is Wind Dancer.
So we are just leaving out of Chiapas, heading south. You can see Chiapas in the background there, barely. Next stop is Bahia del Sol, El Salvador. Carla, what were your thoughts on Chiapas and Tapachula?
My thoughts, great. It was too bad that Chiapas was so far away from the main town. It's about like a 30-minute drive, so we spent a lot of time in the car. But yeah, I think Miguel was key. Actually, Miguel took us to like all the hot spots and all like the little tourist attractions. So it was really great to meet him and have him as a tour guide. 2 thumbs up. I think we toured the marina inside the town for now.
Yeah, we did. We had a really good dinner last night with Miguel, our tour guide.
Founded in the Chichicastenango Church by a priest called Francisco.
Oh yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Bon appetit.
We treated Miguel to Jägermeister as a going away present since he'd never had Jaeger. And what Canadian hasn't had Jaeger? So we had to show him how Canadians drink. And it was just a fantastic time. So now we're heading out.
Kevin's
Friday?
butt. Kevin's butt. Kevin's butt.
Is it a Saturday? What day is it?
It's Friday.
That's why I asked you.
You got it? You got everything under control?
Sure, I think so.
Shake it, baby. Shake it, baby.
Are you recording this time, bro?
I am recording. Don't be a smarty pants.
This is how they get the peanut and the M&M.
Ah.